If you're a fan of zombie flicks, then George A. Romero needs no introduction. The filmmaker and editor was most known for his Night of the Living Dead series, which jump-started the undead zombie genre, defining many of the tropes we still see today in popular culture.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
Known as the father of the zombie film, what you may not know is that Romero began his career in a much tamer setting. In the 1960s, Romero began looking for work in film and television. One of his first jobs out of college was on the set of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where he was put in charge of shooting picture-picture.
Hello again, picture-picture. Picture-picture, we'd like to see how people make light bulbs.
Romero said he shot a dozen or so of these shorts, ranging from educational material like how light bulbs are made, to segments aimed at younger audiences like Things That Feel Soft, to shorts about overcoming one's fears.
I did Mr. Rogers Gets a Tonsillectomy. To this day, the scariest film I ever made.
Shot on location in a hospital, he recalled the stress of having to hang pin lights to get exposure in the waiting and operating rooms. Fred Rogers, the beloved children's entertainer, served as his show's creator, host, writer, composer, and even puppeteer, hosting nearly 900 episodes shot at WQED in Pennsylvania. Romero said he believed that Rogers was a big part in fostering young talent in and around Pittsburgh.
And he was the first guy that really sort of let me, have final cut and trusted me enough to do that.
The feeling was mutual, as Joanne Rogers, Fred's wife, recounted when she accepted the George Romero Legacy Award.
It's very important to me because George Romero is such a big name in professionally in the movies, and yet he's a huge name in Pittsburgh.
Working in Pittsburgh, Romero sourced actors from everywhere he could find. According to him, he actually wanted Betty Aberlin, who played Lady Aberlin on Rogers' show, to portray Barbara or Jane in the movie. However, Romero said Rogers put his foot down and declined. Still, Romero had nothing but kind things to say about his former boss.
All of us started with Fred. Fred was a wonderful guy.
People must not bite other people.
With that sentiment, one could see how Rogers and Romero had more in common than you'd think. In 1969, Rogers had challenged America with a segment in which he shared a pool with Officer Clemens. Romero would unintentionally challenge conception similarly when he cast Dwayne Jones in the leading role of Ben in Night of the Living Dead.
And Dwayne auditioned, and I said, wow, this guy's much better than anybody that we've seen, and so forget about it, he gets it. And that was it, and all he did was change. He wanted the dialogue to be not so gruff.
We'll be all right here. We'll be all right here until someone comes to rescue us. But we'll have to work together. You'll have to help me.
We were driving to New York that night in the car with the first print in the trunk. We heard that Martin Luther King had been assassinated. So now all of a sudden, it became a racial film.
Though Romero says it wasn't deliberate, the casting choice added a layer to the film's social commentary, a feature Romero would incorporate in his future work as he continued to tackle various social and political issues decade by decade through the lens of a zombie apocalypse.
The first 4 films that I made were 10 years or more apart from each other. And I enjoyed the fact that they reflected different decades, and even stylistically they were very different.
We may not enjoy living together, but dying together isn't going to solve anything.
While it doesn't sound like Night of the Living Dead would be appealing to Fred Rogers, Romero invited him to see the film. He even said he came and loved it and was always a huge supporter. If you ask me, I think Don Quixote may have been an inspiration. Has anyone checked her for bite marks lately?